I've been noticing a trend lately of lots of people voluntarily placing themselves within an echo chamber. And I wanted to run it by you guys today. Maybe we can discuss this because it kind of concerns me in some ways. Now, to clarify, what do I mean by an echo chamber? Let's say I have a strong idea or belief system I believe in. So what I do will then go in and surround myself with other people who also think in a similar fashion so that I am always hearing the ideas that I want to hear being repeated back to me. So let's say you lean liberal in your political beliefs. Maybe that person might go and only watch news sources like CNN and go on internet message boards that lean left. Or somebody who feels they're more conservative might only stick to Fox News and YouTube channels that think like they do. Religious, Christians might stick to they might only listen to musicians that also do Christian music and read books written by Christian authors and such. So, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. For a long time, all I was really doing, I was really into the survivalist movement and prepper things and that. So most of the YouTube channels I would watch would pertain to that, and I'd read books about it and message boards, all that kind of thing. So I guess in some way, all of us like to hear and communicate with other people who think like we do. But I think there is some danger in echo chambers as well, because you think, looking back at history, so many wars were started because of echo chambers. Genocides have happened because of echo chambers. Crusades happened over it. So, most people out there, I think, when they get a belief or idea that they believe strongly in, they will just hold on to that forever. Even if they're given new information that may contradict what they believe, they will just discard that information and just stick to their deeply held beliefs. And I guess I'm kind of one of those very rare individuals where if I get new information that conflicts with what I believe, and I believe this new information is valid and really changes how I think, I will change how I think, what I believe. Even my most deeply held beliefs, if I see something and I start to believe it's wrong, I will discard that belief. I will slaughter my most sacred calf if I believe it's going to lead me closer to the truth and learning more about what's out there. But most people, I think, won't. I think they'll just hold on to that deeply held belief forever, no matter what. So, in addition to the big macro idea that echo chambers can lead to bad things, I think it can also lead to bad things for you as an individual. Because let's say you just surround yourself with people repeating back what you want to hear. Well, there's going to be so much out there that you're missing out on, so much information. It kind of reminds me like back when I lived near Chicago, there's a art institute there that's really awesome place to visit. And there was this one painting up on the wall that was gigantic. I mean, it had to be like 30 feet long and 15, 20 feet high. I mean, just huge oil painting. Now, if you stood up close to it was a battle scene. And if you're up close, you would see a section of like two people fighting against each other, something like that. But it only wasn't until you stepped to the other side of the room in this big hall and looked across and can see the entire battle going on. So I think if you really surround yourself in that echo chamber, you're just standing real close to that painting and just seeing that small little portion of what's going on, where it might benefit you to take the step back and be able to look and see the whole bigger picture of what's going on. I think it's very prevalent, especially here in the U.S. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's the same in other places of the world, but here in the U.S., we're very U.S. centric. Uh, most Americans believe that the U.S. is just the center of the world, but really, the U.S. only makes up about 5% of the world's population. So 95% of what's going out there in the world, most Americans are just completely blind to, no idea what's happening. So I think it's a good idea for us to maybe step back. If we do find ourselves in some kind of echo chamber, maybe there's some way we can kind of recognize that and then break out of it a little bit. And try to look for other points of view that may give us more newer, useful information. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that if you're conservative in your beliefs that you should go and just watch CNN all day, because honestly, all that's going to do is just piss you off. But I mean, look into something totally different. If you do feel you're just listening to all conservative stuff all day long, maybe you can go and read a book on history or something on science, or I don't know, what are you into? Find something that interests you and kind of look into it a little bit more. I don't know if these increasing amount of echo chambers out there are because of modern day technology. With social media and the internet and everything, it seems like people can really just throw themselves into this group think like that. But it scares me because, when everybody starts thinking the same, then nobody is thinking at all. So I think a lot of times people will put themselves into a group, give themselves a label, and say, well, I think like this. And then when they hear other people put some thought out there, they say, yeah, well, I'm also part of that too, so I think that way as well. Whereas if they started thinking for themselves, maybe they would start questioning things a little bit more. All those atrocities that have happened in history, maybe if people just stepped back and said, is this really the right thing what we're doing here? Is this war a good idea? Is this genocide really necessary? So I'm kind of bringing this up to you guys too. I'm curious what you think. Maybe you can do me a favor and in the comments below the video, maybe you can talk about echo chambers you found yourself in and what you think you can do to kind of get out of that. Or who knows, maybe you think I'm totally off base here. Maybe you think that it's good to box yourself into just a certain belief system and never give it up. What do you think? You guys a lot of times will put some pretty good, interesting comments in, and I'm curious what you guys would have to say, because this is something I'm kind of watching and thinking about, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about this. And is this a problem or is this not a problem? I really don't know.